We're going to take a look at the workflow that you can use in Envizia to develop a scene, in this particular case, a modern home, and you're going to find out that this is a very cool process. So we're going to start off by looking at the top, and you can see that there are various modes that you can work with to create or modify scenes. So we're going to take a look at the top, and you can see under Create, which is where you create entirely new images or creations. And it's broken down into subcategories that each are tuned for specific types of input. For this video, we're going to take a look at a specific one called Elevation to Render, which is designed to take an elevation style illustration, which is like a frontal type of illustration, and convert that into a rendering. In order to do that, I have created a rough hand sketch, just a really crude hand sketch of something like a modern house that I would want to visualize. I'd really like to give it something a little bit cleaner like this, so we're going to use another function in Envizia to first clean that up and then use that as input for the elevation to render. So we're still in chat, and this is going to be our starting point. What I want to do is I want to upload that image that I had just created, and we're going to use that as our input source. But I'd like to clean it up, and so we're going to tell the system with a prompt, and my prompt says, the attached image is a rough hand-drawn elevation sketch of a modern home. But I want it to look better, as though a professional architect is sketching an elevation of a modern home. Use clean lines and no shading. So you have to be kind of specific with it. And then what I'm going to do is come down to the different modes, and we're going to use Nano Banana. In practice, it's the one that I found works best for this specific scenario. So we go ahead and click the input. It will process it and then give us some initial feedback. And there we go. So it's given me an initial idea. So you can see it looks like it's been drawn somebody that really knows how to do this, and it's given us something better. So now that we've produced a much better elevation sketch, we can come back over to the Create area, and we're going to specifically invoke Elevation to Render. And over here in the left side, we're just going to use Realistic as the preset. There are various modes you could do in terms of style, but we want to go with sort of the realistic. So we're going to add an image, and we're just going to select from the previous creation we've done. And we're going to pick the one we want. And then we just have to come in and put in a prompt. So I will paste in my prompt. Create a modern house with white walls, some vertical wood slats, and black trim accents. It's early evening and the sky is deep blue because the sun is setting. Now we have a prompt assistant that we could really refine this, but I'm just going to go with my really basic prompt. And then we're just going to leave everything at its default, and we're going to generate. And there we go. It gives us a first rendition that we can begin to work with. Now let's say that we like this, but we'd like to generate another view of it so we can see it perhaps at an angle. So this is where we can come back to the chat engine, and we find the creation that we had just created. We want the front elevation, and then we put in our prompt. So I've typed one here: change the view significantly by moving far to the left side and showing the house at a strong angled perspective, capturing the front. So you give it a very descriptive type of visual as to what it is that you want. There we go. So it's produced this angled variation. If we wanted to, we could go in and direct it to produce a couple of other angles if we wanted multiple views. Well, let's say that we want to go back into the Create area, and we want to explore some other potential design ideas for this. So in this case, I'm going to go to Image to Render. So all of these are going to create a brand new image based on your input, whereas Edit allows you to make fine-tuned changes to a localized component. So here in Image to Render, we're going to choose Select from a previous creation. Let's go ahead and choose this 3/4 angle that we've just done. And we want to come in and just give it some variation ideas. But in this particular case, I'd like to tell it to give the house some English Tudor style elements. And we're going to come in and we're going to specifically upload an image that we're going to use as a reference for it. So there we have this house, and I want to set it, I initially want the variations to be sort of subtle. So I'm going to set it down to about 15%, and we're going to generate. And there we go. So it's taken just design elements, subtle design elements, and begun to apply it. So we could come back in and we could try it again, where if I came in and I said, but keep the house a modern style overall, I'm going to maybe drag this up to 25% so we can add just a little bit more influence. And then it will gradually begin to pull elements from both your description and the reference to continue to produce variations like this. These are actually a lot of fun to play with. So let's take this up to say 40%. Let's see what happens when we take this reference strength up even just a little bit higher. And there you go. You can see it's got even more styling. So you could continue to push this and explore ideas for an architectural project as an example. Now we can come over and compare the original. So we can just use the compare function. You can look at it before and after, and you can go back and look at each one of your iterations. You can do the same thing. You can explore which one you like. It's a very cool process.